Well, hello. Welcome back to part two of the workbook for students. Yeah, well, we're into some real heavy duty stuff today and always. Isn't that fun? Isn't it fun that you've encountered a spiritual path that means business? Yeah, many of them do, of course, right? In fact, any spiritual path that leads a person to disidentify with the ego, with the false sense of self that we cling to, anything that helps us to chip away at that and undermine that and set that aside is beautiful. It's beautiful and it's pointed, it's hard hitting in a good way, right? You know what I mean? So isn't it wonderful that we're here with this tremendous tool, this amazing course and a workbook that gives us something to work on? Isn't that wonderful? It gives us something to practice every day. So let's just jump right into today's idea. It's lesson 311. Yeah, we've come a long way here. Lesson 311. Now, a reminder that there's a video yesterday on this segment. What is the last judgment is the overarching question. And again, the last judgment of God is that God's Son is guiltless, not a sinner, as God himself created him. You are as God created you. Which is guiltless, not guilty, not a sinner, not having committed multiple crimes, so to speak, right? Punishable by death. Nah. No. I invite you to take a look at that video and to read that segment, which forms the basis of today's lesson and the next 9 lessons that follow this one. So that's the overarching question. What is the last judgment? And I just told you what it is. Lesson 311 is, I judge all things as I would have them be. I judge all things as I would have them be. Interesting, right? This is both the idea in the workbook for students, and you could say statement of fact, because it is. We're all about, in spiritual practice, no matter what tradition you follow, or traditions, doesn't matter, it's about laying our judgments aside. It's about setting them to the side, however briefly, so that we can see things as they truly are, the vision of Christ, in other words, so that we can see things. And even if you only suspend your judgment for a few seconds, that is tremendous because you've set it aside. What happens then? Well, love rushes in, so to speak. The Holy Spirit rushes in, Jesus rushes in, your teacher, your guide or guides, your higher self rushes in and fills in. It's truth that is always there that you now become aware of because you set all of the artifice to the side. And that's really what our judgment is. And when we judge someone else, when we judge ourselves, it's a weapon against truth. Truth is unity, it's oneness. When we judge, we separate. This is what happens, isn't it? When we judge, we separate. Now, I'm not talking about just what we consider bad or negative judgments. I mean the good ones too. Anything that is a judgment separates. And as we see in A Course in Miracles, that's an attack on the truth. When we take a look at someone and judge them incompetent, a fool, so to speak, dangerous, a troublemaker. That's one form that judgment takes. Now, we could also judge someone as the greatest of all time, as hotter than the rest, right? As smarter than the rest, sexier, more stylish. Judgments that we sometimes consider in the world to be positive assertions are judgments. Why? It separates the hottest person in the world from the not so hottest people in the world. In other words, the rest of us, right? Anything that separates, see, is in fact a judgment. So spiritual practice is about recognizing and setting all of them, all judgments aside. When we judge, we label, right? We put expectations on people. In other words, we just make an artificial scenario where we would have them be as we see them. We would have them be the hottest person in the world. We would have them be incompetent. We would have them be brutal and inarticulate, dumb, for example. We would have them be brilliant, on the other hand. When we judge, we make the situation as we would have it be. This is the way it operates. This is not an idea that sits well sometimes, right? I mean, maybe you can relate to this completely, but maybe you can't. And if you can't, that's really good. In fact, it's the ego that's putting up resistance. It's threatened. The one thing, and this is something that Jesus tells us in the Course, the one thing that the ego is correct about is that you will find it out and unmask it and discover what it really is and leave it to the side. That is the only thing that it is correct about. Otherwise, it knows nothing. It doesn't exist. There is no separation of any kind. So when we judge, we're attempting to make separation. And I use the word attempting because, yes, to us, the separation seems very real, but it's an attempt at separation because it's not ultimately possible. In truth, it is not possible to separate yourself from your brother, from your sister, from the hottest person in the world, from your worst enemy. It's not possible. There is no separation at all of any kind. And part of the beauty of practicing this idea, part of the beauty of practicing forgiveness as it's presented in A Course in Miracles, is that it's a very, very loving practice. What we're doing is we're setting aside our belief that we know everything. There's a real humility to spiritual practice, isn't there? And I don't mean a false humility. I mean, there's a real humility to saying, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Please help. Help me to set my judgments, all of them. Help me to set them to the side. Help me to love in this situation. Help me to forgive in this situation. Part of the beauty of this is that everything we experience is an opportunity to choose love. It's an opportunity to set all of our psychodrama, our judgments, blame, labels of people, labels of ourself. Yeah. It's an opportunity to set all of that aside. It's up to us to take that opportunity. Now, I will tell you, and you likely already know, that the more you do this, the smoother life seems to be, the more benign the world seems to be. It doesn't mean that situations won't occur, but you'll start to see them differently. Rather than something happening to you and for you, you're the victim of a cruel world, because it is cruel, right? Of circumstance, etc. Rather than that, you'll see each situation as an opportunity to forgive, an opportunity to overlook perceived differences, an opportunity to recognize that they're not real, an opportunity to forgive, an opportunity to love, an opportunity to accept healing for yourself and extend healing to others. It's an opportunity for you to realize, yes, we are, in truth, one. Each and every one of us wants one thing. And we've seen what that is, and that is the peace of God. This and, well, all of the ideas in the workbook enable you to be a miracle worker. Remember, a miracle is not as complicated as we make it in the world, is it? It's any shift from the thought system of the ego to God. Any shift from fear to love, from the thought system of the ego to the thought system of the Holy Spirit. Letting our judgments aside, just setting them aside, doesn't mean that we won't fall back into it. Yet, when we do, we will have changed our perception. First of all, you'll be able to notice it much quicker, won't you? You'll be able to realize, ooh, that's judgmental, time to forgive. And by the way, forgive yourself. Do not neglect that, because when you forgive someone else, you're really forgiving yourself. Remember, there's no separation of any kind, so there's absolutely no harm in making sure that forgiving yourself is part of all of this, because it is. It's very important. So, as you practice the idea in your own way, right, in whatever way works for you, ask for your teacher's help in setting all of your judgments aside today. And then once you do that, do it again. Do it again. And you will begin to see, feel, touch, taste, hear, right? Intuit, all the senses. You'll begin to experience life very, very differently. And the change is taking place within you as you set this aside. You'll realize it's not change at all. It's the way things have always been. It's my wish for you that you set your judgments aside today, as often as you can. And when you realize that you've fallen back into that pattern, recognize that, forgive other people, forgive the world, right? Forgive yourself. Don't forget that. Forgive yourself. And continue to extend love. No matter what your external circumstances, no matter what part of the world you live in, no matter what your family structure may look like, no matter what you do for work or a career, this is something that takes place within each and every one of us. It's an inside job, so to speak. This means that everyone can do it. Everyone. So I wish you lots of joy in the practicing of today's idea. And thank you, as always, for tuning in.